The ocean hides many secrets, but some it leaves adrift for all to see. In 1921, the Carroll A Deering became one of those secrets. A ghost ship found off the Carolina coast. Her crew vanished as if they'd never been there at all. She was a 5-masted schooner, built in Bath, Maine, in 1919. A monument to the dying age of sail in a world turning to steam. She was fast and sleek, built to carry coal and cargo across oceans and trade winds. The Deering was no stranger to the rolling swells of the Atlantic, her sails catching the wind with the quiet confidence of a ship that belonged to the sea. In late summer of 1920, she set out from Norfolk, Virginia, bound for Rio de Janeiro. Her crew was a mix of seasoned men and new hands, led by Captain W.B. Wormel, a man whose white hair had seen more storms than most men dared dream. The journey south was a good one, days of sun and clean wind, nights lit by the calm glow of the moon on dark water. But on the return voyage north, the Deering's fate began to twist. Rumors spoke of discord between captain and first mate, small disagreements that grew sharper with each mile of cold sea. Some said the first mate had spoken openly of his contempt, others that the captain's health was failing, his voice weaker, his hand trembling on the wheel. As January 1921 drew on, winter storms rose from the depths of the Atlantic. On January 28th, the Deering was sighted off Cape Lookout by the Cape Lookout lightship. A man was seen on deck, someone the keeper didn't recognize. He shouted through a megaphone, his words urgent and clipped, asking for navigational help. But the keeper never saw the captain, and the ship turned away into the mist without waiting for an answer. 3 days later, on January 31st, the Carroll A. Deering was found run aground on the notorious Diamond Shoals, a place sailors called the graveyard of the Atlantic for the countless ships it had claimed. She stood there in eerie silence, her sails still set, as if she'd been caught mid-journey. The wheel was lashed fast, and the galley stove was still warm from a meal half-eaten. But there was no sign of her crew, no laughter, no footfalls, no breath in the cold air. The Coast Guard boarded her, finding no struggle, no blood, only a terrible stillness. Charts and logs had been removed, as if someone had wanted to erase the final chapter of her voyage. The lifeboats were gone, the cabins neat and untouched. Plates lay on the mess tables, waiting for a meal that would never come. Whispers spread along the docks and in the taverns. Some said pirates had taken her, stealing the men and vanishing into the night. Others blamed mutiny, tales of angry words and desperate men who might have turned against their captain. And there were those who spoke of the Bermuda Triangle, that strange patch of sea that had swallowed ships and souls for as long as men had dared to sail. But no lifeboat was ever found, no body washed ashore. The men of the Carroll A. Deering had vanished as if the sea itself had reached up and taken them for its own. For months, the Deering's wreck stood alone on the shoals, her broken masts rising like ghostly fingers from the surf. Fishermen said they heard voices there at night, a low, mournful call that carried on the wind. When the storms finally came to claim her bones, she slipped beneath the waves, leaving only questions in her wake. Today, the story of the Carroll A. Deering still drifts across the Atlantic. She was a ship of iron will and white sails, taken by forces no man could name. Her crew remains a ghostly echo, a question that haunts the hush of the ocean's endless waves. And somewhere, in the cold, eternal sea, the final plea for help still drifts, unanswered and lost forever. Thank you for listening to The Sunken Ledger. Subscribe for more true tales from the depths.